Okay, so I've drawn in these walls on the first floor and on the ground floor, most of the internal walls there, but you can see they look different to the exterior walls. And that's because I didn't think about the types I was using or the material. And that's something that is, you will often do with a project like this, but it's worth sorting this out before you go too far, because you want all of the existing elements to show up the same, and you don't have to spend too long going and changing each of them individually. So, in properties, I'm going to edit this type. I've used generic 100mm wall. You can see there, and I've used that for all of the walls in this project that are all internal walls. So that's one thing that can save you time, making sure you do use the same wall types for the walls that you want to be the same, and thinking about which type you're using. Then if I use edit type, rather than duplicate, I'm going to rename this type, and I'm going to call it existing 100mm wall. And 100mm is fine. I know in reality these walls wouldn't be that thick, but it's fine to show them 100mm in this case. So, first thing is the coarse scale fill colour. That's why they look different here. And this is an easy thing to miss. A lot of people, even people I know who have been using Revit for a little while and should know better, will often forget about the coarse scale fill pattern and colour. And that's what we see here, because this view is set to coarse, not fine. So it's showing up with the coarse scale fill colour, which is grey. So I'm going to change that colour to black. Just dragging the slider down here. Apply. And you can see now, in the view I've got there, those walls look the same. Or they're the same colour at least. So I'll just click OK for now, and you'll see that those walls are all black now. But if I change to fine, you can see that I've still got a division between some of these walls, and well, they actually happen to be using the same material, so they do look the same essentially, but they don't look the way I want them to. So I'm going to go again into the properties for that wall again, or just any of those walls, edit type, and this time I'll look at the structure, so clicking edit there, and you can see it's still using this material called finish. So hopefully we'll know by now that existing elements should be shown in a simplified way, and so you can make a material for all of your existing elements, and that's what I'm going to do here. Rather than using this finish material, I'm going to click browse, and then in my list of materials, maybe I'll start with finish. I'll click duplicate, and I'll call this material existing. So one of the most obvious mistakes people who are new to this make is spending way too long on the appearance of existing elements. I used to check drawings for a living, and I had a lot of graduates coming in who thought they knew it all, some of them, and really had done some really complex and amazing drawings, but we had to let go of them because they would spend way too long drawing up existing buildings, things that were already there, and only need to be shown in a very simple way, and they would draw all this complex detail in there for the existing elements and spend 2 or 3 times as long on a project than they really should have. And even after it was explained, they would keep doing it, some of them. So that's a really common mistake people make, and it actually led to a lot of projects being rejected by council because they overemphasised the existing elements and made it look like it was new construction. And that's a really terrible thing to do. You can't do that because you're basically going to upset the client, and they're the ones paying, and so you've really got to be careful and think about why you're doing things. So in the case of existing elements, if you're not changing them, keep them as simple as possible, and you need to think about that at the beginning. I've got this existing material that I can use then for all of my existing elements. Now, the surface pattern, I don't really care about. I'm going to leave that set to none. The cut pattern, I'm going to set to solid fill, but I'm not going to leave it black. That'll be too heavy for a fine view, so I'm going to make that grey, just a light grey. Then the render appearance, I'm just checking that. It's a white matte material, that's fine as well. So that's my existing material done. Clicking OK, OK, OK. And I can use this for all the existing elements, not just the walls, but the floors and the ceilings as well. And then we can just apply finishes to the faces where we need to individually. So here I've got another wall type that I've used in the project. And I've already made this one, it's called existing 300mm. So it's a different wall type to the other wall type there. So I'm going to have to go in and check first. Its coarse scale fill pattern is fine. We saw that before, it's black. But then in the other views, in the fine and medium views, it'll use the material that's set in the structure. And so now all I need to do is set that to existing as well. So now all my walls look the same. I've got a join showing up here. If I use join geometry, with any luck, that'll go. No, it doesn't want to go. We can take that out using a trick or something like the line work tool and set that to use invisible lines if you need to. So there we go. But again, those little details you can worry about towards the end. But you can see everywhere else these walls join together properly. And now I'll just quickly add in a floor or two. Okay, so here the simplest thing is to turn off extend into wall to core on the options bar, and then you can simply pick the outside edge of most of these walls. Remembering that the terrace will be a different material, so I'm going to leave that out. And then also the floor steps down here for the bedroom, so I'm going to stop the floor here along this edge, and then maybe along the back of this built-in. Be fine for now. So I'm sure most of you will be able to work out the shape this floor needs to be. You don't need to go around the ducting or anything like that. So that's a good basic shape for the main floor there. The main thing I wanted to show you is the type. So again, think about your types. I know it seems like extra work, then you just want to get in and model things, but if you do these things as you go, it really makes the whole process a lot smoother and a lot faster. So in my type properties for this floor, edit type, again, I can duplicate this one and I'll call it existing. 150mm would be fine. Yep, we'll just keep it at that for now. Okay, so again, I've got the coarse scale fill pattern here, which I'm going to set to solid fill. And then the structure is where I can set the same material I've used for the walls. So existing again. Finish floor. And now what you should see, if I make a section, so going the other way. Okay, so you can see there my walls and my floors read as one element. Right, and if you don't do these things, they won't. And I've seen people spend a long time just trying to do simple things like that, getting the walls and the floors to read as one thing. Whereas if you set the same material for them, and also the same coarse and coarse scale fill pattern and colour, then it's really simple. So it's one of those things that you really need to just put a bit of extra thought into, and then the whole process should go a lot more smoothly. So that material can also be used for the ceiling. And again, it just keeps things simple. You don't want to show too much detail. If you put too much detail in for the existing, you're actually going to spend more time than you need to on it. So I'll just set this back to coarse. And so I can put another floor in here afterwards, but I'll do that later maybe.